Hey YouTube, we need to talk about people dooming about characters when they just released. Bedman just came out, and I guess because the character doesn't instantly beat Happy Chaos, the character is dead. Now, I personally think it's impossible to tell whether a character is strong day one. I mean, there's just too many variables, there's too much tech to find out. But even just playing Bedman, I can feel this character is really tricky, but has a lot of potential that we should get into. Now, Bedman has a few strengths that come to mind. One is they have really good zoning, right? So the fireball comes out, it tracks, which is really nice, and it has a follow-up that comes out after 3 seconds. Now, this follow-up can be done immediately if you cancel into her 214P. And so doing this, you can get some pretty decent zoning that can be a little tricky to deal with, right? A lot of characters, because of this, have to approach, and when you force them to approach, right, you can do the 236P, and then you can store this, and then you can use this to kind of start your offense. Bedman has a couple of other neutral tools that stand out to me. I think this air dash, like jump back JS, is really good just for controlling space, and then you can kind of mix in with the JH for your mix-up. That's a multi-hitting overhead, and you can mix up between that or just going low. I feel like there's some like really cheap high-low stuff with the multi-hitting overhead because every single hit of this hits overhead, so there has to be something cheap. Even just spin RC is good. Like this is I think one of the better RC neutral skip moves in the game because you can do this, and then you start your pressure, and you get the follow-up for that, which means you get even more pressure, right? So you kind of get a built-in mix off of the 236S RC. A couple of other things, I really like this button, JD. You don't get really a combo off of it unless you RC, but it's pretty nice because it can like stall your air momentum. You can buy with Bedman's 8-way air dash, right? So that can be a 6P, and it can go to RC, or that can go into, the cool thing is you can jump cancel this for some reason. So even if you use your air dash, then you can go for like jump cancel pressure. So you can get sequences like this, and then that would be a mix-up. Just a lot of different ways to alter the air momentum. So you do have a couple ways to approach as well. I also think the pokes are really long. So this 2S feels kind of nice because you have a really good Gatling. Canceling this in the 2H feels really good. And so like even on counter hit, like if you're just trying to fish for a counter hit, and then you get pretty decent corner carry, and that leads into the other strength of this character, which is the knockdown situations, right? I think this character has a lot of different knockdown situations because of the air that comes out. It basically gives you another turn, right? So here's a few examples I found of like just after any combo, whether it's 2K 2D or the 2H 236 editor. And you can just kind of loop it into itself. So you can also get a throw combo too. Just an example sequence, and that goes into super and into continuing pressure, right? So you have multiple different ways to open up an opponent after your knockdown, right? Here's another example of another pressure sequence after 2K2D. And what you can do is you can use the first air to keep you safe, and then you get a second air to continue your pressure, right? So as you can see, you can kind of loop the specials together, and you can create really strong pressure sequences that obviously still need to be more fleshed out, but I think this is part of the character's potential, right? Now, character does have some faults. A couple of things that come to mind is that if you're a character that can stop this really easily, say Happy Chaos or Axel, someone that forces Bedman to approach, I think this is going to be a difficult matchup. But again, it's still early. Who knows what the matchup will evolve into, right? I think the other thing is just looking at the frame data. So here's a list of frame data from Matosh that go, and you can see this minus on block, minus on block, minus on block, everything's really minus on block, which means that unless you cancel the true block strings, which Bedman doesn't really have, you're really susceptible to DP. And so if you do any move like 2H, for example, and it doesn't matter what you cancel into, you're still gonna get counter hit, right? So it makes DP against certain moves that Bedman has really, really strong. Oh, and also special shout outs to this move. This is the overhead. It's pretty slow. I mean, it's probably something that takes a while to get used to, but I think below Celestial, people are going to be free to this move. So if you want some easy wins with Bedman, trust me, use this move. You can get a full combo from it. I'm not quite sure what the optimal combo is because it's still early, but at the very least, you can get something like that. Gatlings from 5S. And it's actually pretty deceivingly fast because that animation can be kind of hidden behind like some explosions and whatnot. So I think because of that, there might be some like really tricky setups where you can't really see Bedman's hand going back and then you just get hit by overhead because there's all this crap on screen. So one last thing, I wanted to take a look at some match footage from Kid Viper, a very strong Guilty Gear player. I'll link to Twitch in the bio. They always grind out the DLC characters along with myself, and they do it earlier than me, so it's cool to see what they're cooking up. Just to kind of give you an example of what what Bedman's neutral and stuff looks like, right? So again, the air dash you can use for space. So against characters that can't interrupt that 2H into a special, that's pretty good. And that bomb is +3 on block, so you're actually at a pretty good distance. This lets you start the Oki. Obviously, the Oki's not fully fleshed out because the character's new. That's a pretty cool throw setup because you get plus frames, and then you can go into a mix-up. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. So a lot of cool stuff that with Bedman that needs to be fleshed out, right? Like that could have probably been confirmed into a knockdown. Again, it's still very, very early. Good goal burst timing from KV, and again, just standard Bedman pressure. Cool. That's a double overhead too. And that was looking pretty clean. Yeah. I feel like when the character gets more fleshed out, these pressure sequences are going to be even scarier to deal with, right? You're going to have some uncharged dust into combo or a throw into combo just kind of snuck in there, right? And the cancels that Bedman has, I think are pretty fast. They're pretty hard to react to. So I think we're going to see a lot of like tricky pressure from Bedman players. One thing that one thing from playing Bridget that I miss is having a DP. Having a DP feels really bad in this kind of situations where you can just kind of mash out DP. It feels like your defensive options are a little on the slower side too, so I could definitely see Bedman struggling a little bit with defense, but making up with it on offensive potential. I think it's just pretty standard pressure. You can also do the fireball in the air, which again makes it pretty tricky. Nice. That's multi-hit. All those hits are low too, which makes it like pretty tricky to interact with that Bedman 2H. Yeah, you have to see the burst there. We got to root for Bedman. We got to prove the down haters are wrong and down players are wrong. No, I just picked a match at random. Come on, let's go Bedman. Mix them up. Oh, that was a very good tech. Oh, you're dead. All right, turns out all the down players are right. Again, it's day one. We have a lot to learn of the character, a lot of pressure sequences to flesh out the character. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about Bedman down in the comments below. I have faith in the character. Usually these kind of technical characters, just like Bridget, when Bridget released, not very straightforward. And it turns out the longer we played Bridget, turns out the character is actually pretty good, even before the buffs. So it wouldn't surprise me if the same happened with Bedman, but again, there's so much tech to find out. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm gonna be playing Bedman for a bit, so check out my Twitch. Try to enter some tournaments. We got to win a tournament for the clout, for the YouTube clout. And yeah, take care, everyone. I'll see y'all next time.